subscribe. Darling Radio. Like and subscribe.
Let's get Smack in again. Smack, we talked the other day. I don't remember what we talked about, but give me a refresher, Smack. Smack, hop on. What's good? What did we talk about last time? I know you are a tether, right? But I just forgot what we talked about. Aren't you like a Jamaican tether or something like that?
Yeah, well, because everybody that questions you or has anything to say about you is automatically a tether, gay, or a Democrat. But no, I got a new question. It's
Well,
kind of similar to our last question.
yeah, you a
Let's break
tether. I
it.
mean, shit, we were right. You a tether, but go ahead.
Again, everybody who disagrees with you or questions you on any level is a tether, gay, or Democrat.
Right,
So
but because the people who have bad faith arguments and who lie all the time are usually tethers. That's part of the culture. But go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Lying is part of tether culture. That's what y'all do. So it's almost it's almost like orgasmic or something with y'all tethers with the lying. Y'all almost get off on that shit. What's with that? We're having a discussion about that earlier about how y'all like to lie. It's almost like a sexual thing. What's up with that?
Well, lying is Tariq culture. I mean,
No.
it's I'm Tariq and I say so. That's your code.
No. What did I lie about?
Anyway, so
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Nothing. But go ahead.
Tariq, you're a baby, dude. You know you're a compulsive liar, and it's sad.
What did I lie about?
Tariq, I'm not gonna play this game with you
because you're lying now. You're just saying stuff. You're a musty.
You know how it works with you.
You're a musty tether, and you say so. Now, what else? You've already established yourself as a lying.
There will never be a moment, folks, where Tariq Nasheed sits up and says, "No, what I said was wrong. I'm not right. That was incorrect."
What did I lie about? Where's the lie? Right. You're silent for a reason, musty tether. All right. You're silent for a reason. I ain't lying. That's why y'all tethers are so bent out of shape. I'm telling the truth.
I'm not lying.
I'm telling the truth about you, musty Negroes. That's the problem. Y'all don't like it, right?
Okay, folks, just watch this. Okay. So again, my question. Your boy Flacco, would you consider him a tether?
Poetic Flacco? Flacco does some tether shit. I've gotten on Flacco's case.
So yes or no, do you consider Flacco a tether?
Has done tether stuff, but I'm cool with Flacco. I don't like.
Maybe I should be a little bit.
If you can let me answer the question, I'm cool with Flacco. I don't like them having suspected agents up there at No Jumper though. That's some other shit that I ain't.
No.
That I ain't feeling that. That's why I ain't with them like that. They got some straight up people who are suspected agents up there at No Jumper that I ain't cool with. That then got folks locked up and allegedly. I don't say allegedly. But anyway,
so that's your man's. That's your man's.
I'm cool with.
You don't consider him a musty, dirty, fat ass tether.
No, I didn't say that. No, you're projecting. I didn't say that about Flacco. I didn't say that about that man. So what are you talking about? You're just babbling now, sir. Why are you babbling? What are you talking about? You don't really have an argument.
I didn't say that you did. I asked, did you do? Do you feel that way?
You don't have an argument. You just.
I asked you a question. You saying that I said that? No, I'm
okay.
asking.
You're talking like a woman.
I never said that you said that.
Get out of here. I'm not going to talk in circles with no musty ass tether. You ain't saying nothing. You just in here talking in circles. Tethers always want somebody to acknowledge their bum ass because ain't nobody thinking about you. Nobody's checking for you. Y'all just want somebody to acknowledge you. We've been talking about these whiny tethers. Let me say this. And I'm trending. In some places I'm trending. Did y'all see that? I got on X about 30 minutes ago and my ass was trending. There's a few threads about me. Did y'all see that? I don't know if I'm still trending now on Twitter. But there's a thing where the tethers all get online because foundational Black Americans by the millions all over the country are delineating. Foundational Black Americans are saying, hey, wait a minute, we're not continental Africans. We're saying that as a unified front. We're embracing our foundational Black American heritage unapologetically, all across the board. In film, our good brother Ryan Coogler; in R&B and country, our good Queen Mother Beyonce, embracing her foundational Black American culture; our great brother, even in hip hop, Kendrick Lamar, embracing his foundational Black American culture. The song They Not Like Us, that's a foundational Black American anthem, ladies and gentlemen. It just went diamond, by the way. Shout out to our brother Kendrick. Round of applause for Kendrick. The biggest diss record in rap history. That is the biggest diss record in rap history. The first diss record to win a Grammy or multiple Grammys. Did it win multiple? But listen, we, millions of foundational Black Americans, are delineating, and not to harm anybody. We're just recognizing our unique ethnogenesis. We're recognizing it and respecting it, and we're calling out, ladies and gentlemen, all the disrespect that's been happening for so long. And what we're seeing now, see, the Tethers tried to play this game where they tried to downplay the momentum of the delineation movement. They tried to lie to themselves. Oh, this sheet is only on Twitter. This is some Twitter sheet. It's only on the internet. No, that's you lying to yourself. Now, people see that foundational Black Americans are not allowing ourselves to be generic Africans only to be exploited by all of these other groups. We're not letting that happen no more. Those days are over. Smacker, cracker, whatever your name is, those days are over. You know it. That's why you're salty. You're calling here, babbling and talking in circles. Those days are over. You're not leeching off us no more. Everybody's going to have to pull their weight. Everybody's going to have to hold their own nuts. When weird stuff happens, we say, hey, wait a minute, that dude, he ain't us. That's, you don't put him on us. Don't know. We're not to blame for that. His last name is foreign. That ain't us. We're distancing ourselves from riffraff behavior. With this Ebony thing, you have people by the droves criticizing Ebony for the tethering of the Essence, not Ebony, but Essence. I'm in Essence. The tethering of the Essence Fest and how they basically culturally vandalized it to a certain degree. Everybody's calling that out. So the tethers are getting real nervous. They're getting very, very nervous. They start trying to blame me. But listen, let me tell you something. I don't blame me. I was just one of the first to point all of those shenanigans out because I saw it decades ago. Instead of them taking responsibility for their damn anti-FBA shenanigans that they've been having going on for the past decades, they want to sit up and try to point the finger and blame me and the government got you niggas hitting us. Shut up. No. People are calling out your exploitive, disrespectful actions. And let me tell you something. Remember, on social media, these people really got that anti Black American vibe going really online. You started to see it online heavily around 2012, right around that time. They've always, a lot of them always did it a little secretly. They had this contempt. They would have all these little conversations with each other, stay away from the akata. They would say this at home and in private. We didn't know about it. But when social media start popping, especially Twitter in particular, because that's when people could really just tweet whatever random thoughts you had. Yeah. Whereas, social media like MySpace, it wasn't quite the same, but with Twitter, you can just tweet out any random thought very quickly and you can interact with people more fluently. and you can get more comfortable within your circles on Twitter. So around that time, 2012, right when Obama was in office, right when some of the grassroots uprisings started to happen, right after Trayvon Martin and all that, we start seeing the tether class on social media denigrating us. A lot of folks weren't catching it because they would use little words like akata, and at the time, a lot of FBAs just didn't know what that meant. But yeah, we were watching these folks and see the rise of the grassroots movement around 2012 when we were fighting against police brutality. Then they rebranded that Black Lives Matter. See, that gained momentum 2012, 2013, and a lot of African and Caribbean immigrants. They they felt a lot of pressure to kind of distance themselves from what they perceived as the loud, radical, overly aggressive black activist. You see. So we're fighting in the streets trying to confront these race soldiers, and these tethers, they wanted proximity to whiteness, so they would be on the back end like, oh yeah, I ain't, you see that negro over there with the Molotov cocktail, that ain't me now, I'm not like that nigga. They'd be behind the scenes making little deals like, I'm not like him, I'm not gonna give you no trouble like that. You feel me? We saw them. I mean, we saw them in real time, and then all of a sudden we start getting these weirdos that didn't nobody know pop up as the spokespersons. Like, yes, my name is such and such, and I'm part of Black Lives Matter Cleveland, and I say trans lives matter too, and immigrants matter. We're like, huh? What the hell? We start seeing all that weird stuff, and then the organization Black Lives Matter, who they get? They got some tethers, some of these non-FBA women as the leaders, but nobody knew them. We don't know them. And we're like, who are they? Nobody knew these people. We're telling you how this stuff started to play out. So these folks knew that they were going to make a little side deal with the white supremacists while we were out there in the streets turning up. They were in the back channel making little deals like, yeah, we'll get out there and we'll be the spokespersons for these folks. You elevate us, we'll be the mouthpiece, and then we're going to redirect all of the energy. So if a black person gets killed, we're going to show up to the protest twerking and then talking about immigration. We start seeing this stuff in real time. And then when they get on social media, some of these folks, they would talk greasy about foundational Black Americans. They talk real greasy about us. Man, y'all go back and look at some of them tweets from like 2012 to around 2018. Boy, Akata, we were all types of Akatas. These people were so comfortable talking greasy about us. They were very comfortable talking greasy about us. And we up here on some, yeah, we got to fight for our brothers and sisters. We on some, yes, we all got to get together. We're saying that, but they online calling us all types of Akatas and Jareers and Yanks and just everything. Yeah. And they benefited from FBA sacrifice while mocking the fighters. While we were on the front line taking risks, getting attacked, some people getting killed. My good brother, Darren Seal, rest in peace. The ops killed our brother, man. I mean, we had folks losing their lives out here. Yeah, I'm being targeted with all types of shit. We out here risking our damn lives. And then we see these immigrant groups reaping the benefits of it. Yeah, we start all of a sudden we're like talking about police reform, and they start like, yes, diversity and minority funding for immigration. And they're, what? Oh, hold on, I ain't risking my life for no damn immigration now. What's this shit? That's when I'm like, I got real sensitive to it because I didn't like none of that shit they were doing back then. Because then I'm becoming a target. At that time, man, I was hell on these race soldiers. I'm up here banging on the damn police chief, the prosecutors, making them release people out of jail. getting people out of custody, getting people's charges dropped. We were banging on these folks. And then we were getting targets put on our backs for doing that. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing folks hugging killer cops and all that. Hey, man, what the is this shit? I said, hold on, man. Hold on. Especially with that Botham John thing. They family up there hugging the woman all in court. I said, man, hold on, man. Hold on. And remember with Botham John's family, it was us on the grassroots stomping to get that woman prosecuted. We were on that woman's bumper. Her family, we were putting all that stuff on Front Street. She got convicted, and then Botham John's family, they got some money and then put together some kind of scholarship for Caribbeans. I said, what? Come on, y'all remember that? Come on, let's no. Y'all not gonna sit here and point the finger at me like, oh, Tariq made you niggas hate us. We're all supposed to be together. Man, the minute y'all get something after we didn't help you get it, yeah, okay, this is gonna be for Caribbeans now. What? Little stuff like that, man, had me raising my antenna like, hey, man, hold on now. Wait a minute. No, we ain't about to be no damn fool out here. We're gonna have to get some straightening. You know? We're gonna have to start getting some damn straightening and see who the hell is who out here. Because there's just too much funny style stuff going on with these weirdos that don't nobody know. Every time we out here stomping, these weirdos out here doing some strange stuff against us. You know? They start turning the Black Lives Matter thing into some immigration agenda. You know? They were real big on that. Then they started pushing the LGBT stuff. Black Lives Matter won't matter until Black trans lives matter too. Like, what? Everybody Black matters. We're not differentiating between anything. But they did that. Well, the Black trans lives matter, so we got to give some money to some LGBT groups. So they were using that to funnel money over to these white LGBT organizations. So that was a finesse too. You understand? They were doing all this weird ass stuff, man. And then they started getting these tether women who masked themselves as feminists so they could attack foundational Black American men. Y'all remember Fraudinista Jones, Jamila Lemieux, and all of them from Ebony. They would write all of this anti-Black FBA male stuff, and they all come from tether backgrounds. They're not FBA. And they were running around here talking about street harassment, and they were working with white feminist groups. Yeah, come on, y'all don't remember this stuff. I remember because I'm up there in the trenches. These tether women running around here talking about they're feminists, they were working with white feminist groups to try to pass laws to replace stop and frisk because stop and frisk was unconstitutional. So the white feminists, they were going to help out there in these liberal cities, they were going to help the police come up with ways to target Black folks, Black men in particular, with new laws. So you're not going to do stop and frisk, but you can do street harassment. That was the play they were going to go for. They were going to try to criminalize men speaking to women. Do y'all remember that? Some of y'all might not remember that. Dude, come on. Y'all look back at the archives. They had this thing, like, you okay, sis, and all that. That's what Tarana Burke and those guys, that's what it kind of morphed into Me Too. And they had another Caribbean, Tarana Burke, as the face of that, as they attacked Black men. You understand? Tarana Burke is Caribbean. Y'all say, family, it's been a play. We've been pointing this shit out. We started seeing a pattern here. All of these weirdos working with these white supremacist suspects to get these laws out here that target us. It was always these non-FBAs. We started putting two and two together. We're like, hey, man, there's a common thread here. These people come from different cultures and they sit up here and project a lot of weird stuff onto us so that we can be targeted. Yeah, these strong donkey face mammy tether women who were claiming to be feminists were out here talking about, yeah, in places like New York, black men be harassing us on the streets. And I knew something was up there. And I was like, who? I know who's harassing you? I know ain't nobody from our culture harassing you. And I'm not even being mean. I'm like, oh, it must be some foreigners or something doing that. I knew something was up. That's when I started saying, hey, wait a minute, we're gonna have to start looking into the lineage of people here. Because I ain't no spokesperson for nobody, but I can speak for foundational Black American men on one point. Ain't no FBA brothers trying to sexually harass no Tarana Burke. I think I'm safe to say that. I don't want to put words in everybody's mouth, brothers. Now, some of y'all might have a donkey fetish. I don't know. So I can't speak for that. But generally, ain't no FBA brothers trying to get at that or sexually harass that. You understand? So we started to see these patterns, and we started to see that a lot of these immigrants, they made this little unspoken deal with the politicians to kind of act as a replacement. Around 2015, there was a growing unspoken agreement between these African and Caribbean immigrant communities and the liberal political operatives that foundational Black Americans, we'd be culturally and politically replaced by a more compliant class of Black immigrants. And they would choose them for media appearances, nonprofit positions, all of that stuff. So that's why we could never get stuff done in the community. We doing all this stomping and riding, and the resources were like, where the hell are the resources? It's going to these immigrant groups and DACA programs and all of this stuff. I'm like, what the hell? So the name of the game was to reframe what it meant to be Black in America without centering us in it. The the native foundational Black Americans, without us being centered in it. They were actively, y'all better understand, they kept trying to redefine what Blackness meant. With Obama. This was on Obama was in office, remember? Obama was in office. They're trying to rise up Kamala Harris. So we start seeing this stuff. And at the time, we started seeing the rise of this alternative media like Gossip, Shade Room, Media Takeout, all of these entities, World Star, that would show extremely negative images of foundational Black Americans. They were all run by non FBAs. At the time, nobody was putting two and two together. I started putting two and two together. I'm like, wait a minute. And I always say this. What made me put two and two together, these blogs, Madame Noir, that was another one. These blogs would talk about Black society from a hood degenerate perspective, but I would always see these glowing stories about Africa on these sites. Every time they mentioned Africa, it was always a beautiful, expensive African wedding. Some African kid just got a scholarship at 3 universities. Oh, it would be glowing. They would just make glowing posts about Africa. I said, wait a minute, who are these people? I started asking questions. I started putting two and two together. And what really made me say, hey, something is up. These folks, we had the #1 movie in the world. We had like 5 #1 movies, Hidden Colors 1 through 5. That changed the game. As you all know, we all know by now the Hidden Colors series, classic, literally changed the game. That literally brought in the woke movement. That influenced so many things. Hidden Colors was the game changer. Huge movie. We were selling out movie theaters literally all over the world. Some of y'all who went to the screenings, y'all saw it was lines around the corner all over the country with those films, independent, killing the game. That shit they were all over the place. The DVDs were all over the place in barber shops, hair salons, schools, still are. They're still now in schools and everything. None of those black quote unquote media outlets like Gossip, Shade Room, none, they wouldn't promote it at all. They would never promote it. They would never talk about it. Even though you're supposed to be a black media outlet, the hottest black film about black history is killing the game. They're not talking about it. And when they did talk about it, they were denigrating it. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? The Root, Madame Noir, they would denigrate the Hidden Color series. They called it Hotep shit. They were denigrating it. And then trying to denigrate me and all of that stuff. Well, we're doing something constructive and you're denigrating it? So what's going on with that? So we start putting two and two together. And then we started to see that a lot of these people, these so-called black media outlets, they were basically controlled by the DNC. They were basically satellites of the DNC. And the DNC, they need a dumb ass black constituency. They need you black, dumb, and sleep. You understand? They need you dumb. They need you listening to hood stuff. They need you sitting up watching fight videos all day. They need you dumb and sleep. So all they got to do is come through with some catfish nuggets and your dumb ass gets out there and vote. If you are awakened, if you are smart, if your brain has been energized by the Hidden Colors film, now you're going to ask questions before you vote. And they don't want that. That's why they were denigrating it. And that's why they denigrate me now, because I wake y'all up and I make y'all ask some questions. What am I going to get for my vote? Yeah, what am I going to get for my vote? I'm not going to go in here as a blind, sleeping dummy. I'm up, I'm woke, I'm awake. If I vote, I'm getting what exactly? Well, you get to see some more immigrants come over here. Nah, that ain't enough. Nope. I'm gonna need some tangibles. You see. So we started to see that tether class get very hostile because the white supremacists place them into authoritative positions now. They're supposed to be our spokespersons. Roland and all those guys, they are who's a tether. They're supposed to be our spokespersons. So now when we don't go along, when we say, hey, you know what? Let's slow down on just this voting for nothing. I would like to sit down with the politicians and kind of talk about what the black community needs. A lot of us were saying, hey, we kind of need some things within our community. And then we start getting the tether class denigrating us. Rolling, you stupid fool, shut your ass up. And then when we start making some of these politicians lose, like Hillary, we made Hillary lose. Boy, when Hillary lost, they called me out personally. They started cursing my ass out because I was telling people, I put up a hashtag. I started a hashtag, no tangibles, no vote. And it went viral. And I'm like, don't we ain't voting for no Hillary. We done dealt with the Clintons long enough. We done got the three-strike Clintons whooping on our ass way too long. We need some tangibles. And then when Hillary lost, boy, the DNC sent them tethers after me, rolling. Now, listen, Hillary just lost. I like to say this. Tariq Nasheed, people like him are stupid as hell, stupid fool. You big dumbass. Y'all listen to this fool. They started calling me out by name. And then when they tried to push Kamala Harris, Tether Mammy #1, they tried to push her out there. I started questioning her. The entire DNC went after me. Do y'all remember that? All of them went after me. They started going in on me heavy. It's a viral thread where when she was running for president, this is not when she was doing vice president, she was running for president, and she's up here, she pulled her hair back and was up here dancing to Cardi B or some shit. I said, look, this woman done pulled her hair back to show her edges with this fake bullshit. They're like, oh, don't you say that. Oh, they all start attacking me for calling out Kamala Harris and her fake shenanigans. They started attacking me heavy. So I started to see how organized this thing was and how they get all of these non-FBA people to do the dirty work for them. And then, family, we saw this thing come to a head with the Clubhouse app. When the Clubhouse app came out, that became a breeding ground for anti-FBA rooms. See, when Clubhouse launched, a lot of these African and Caribbean immigrants, they started hosting these daily anti-FBA rooms, openly denigrating us. They took all that stuff they used to say behind closed doors. Now they had a platform to kind of be anonymous and say what they really felt because they've had to pin it up so much for so long and say it and whisper it. So now they felt empowered, by the Democrats propping them up. So they kind of felt empowered. And boy, around what 2020, when did Clubhouse really get popping? Yeah, when Clubhouse launched, um, the stuff they used to whisper in private, boy, they would get on there and talk about how cultureless we were, how jealous we are of them because they got culture and they know their roots, and all them up here mimicking us using our damn dialect, by the way. Boy, they were going in on us on Clubhouse. They had a field day denigrating us. And then they tried to bring that stuff over to the Twitter spaces. That didn't quite work out like they thought it was, because by that time, the delineation movement was in full swing. We started to delineate and we started to call it out. We started to compare notes and we said, hey, man, we're going to have to look at everybody's paperwork. So by the time they tried to bring that Clubhouse energy, and y'all remember the early Twitter spaces, y'all go back and listen to some of the archives in the early Twitter spaces. The crazy anti-FBA tethers used to be in these Twitter streets heavy. We shut all that down. We got a couple left, like Bushmeat Barrister. We got a couple of renegades left, but they were big on talking all that crap. But now by this time, everybody had the right talking points to counter that stuff. Yeah, we knew how to counter all of that stuff. And the thought leaders and the speakers and the commentators just weren't having it. And those narratives got checked in real time. So you got to hear people dismantle and debunk them falsehoods and expose that contempt in real time. And then they try to do after we start getting on their bumper, their contempt was cloaked in the whole unity talk. They start talking about, "Hey, we must be Pan-Africanists. We have to have unity. We're all black." While you waving your flag, you're promoting your national identity and you're trying to denigrate our culture. Yeah. But see, they wanted to be seen as united for clout, but they wanted to be in a superior position in practice because that's the con game. See, they want us to be generic Africans so they can have a one up on us. If we are generic Africans, and they are from the continent, they're continental Africans, then they are the real deal, and we are a carbon copy of them. They like that arrangement. So whenever we do something under the guise of African American, they come in and be like, well, listen, everybody move over. A real African is here, nigga. Now, let me say this. This is what we need. No reparations, no Black History Month. Hold on. Then everybody's looking at each other. You see, that's why they have a problem with us ditching the term African American. The African American term was a trick bag. So we started to get our weight back up and say, hey, we're not going for those labels you're imposing on us. We're going to use our own labels, which is foundational Black American. That just stomped them right out in the head. That changed the game because they couldn't remix it and they got all bent out of shape over it. And that stopped the tethering in its tracks. And then we started to see what people's get down was in real time. And instead of them coming to terms with that and saying, hey, you know what? We need to change our ways. You know what, Black Americans, you guys are right. We've been on the bullshit. We've been undermining you. We've been calling y'all all these derogatory names. Our parents have been sitting up here saying, hey, stay away from the Akata and stay away from them Yanks. Our tether taxi drivers didn't want to pick y'all up. Y'all be walking in the cold while our taxi drivers are passing you up for white passengers. We've been doing little shit. We have our bad. No, they didn't do that. Their thing was, you Tariq made you niggas hate us. These folks want to sit up and blame me. They blame me for now. Everybody's delineating from them. They have to hold their own nuts. Now their family members are getting deported and all this old stuff because we ain't caping for them no more. So instead of them looking at themselves saying, hey man, we got to step this thing up and kind of change our little tethering ways. So that Tariq brainwash you niggas. Tariq is a cult leader. He has used hoodoo on your brains. Now, I done tricked 43 million people. No, no, one man ain't stopping you from all of this unity. We were unified. If it were not for Tariq, he's messing up Pan-Africanism. If one dude is messing up Pan-Africanism, then it must not have been popping. No, Tariq ain't doing nothing. I ain't leading nothing. I'm just recognizing the game. Tariq Nasheed became the mirror that you didn't want to face. I just put that mirror up to let you reflect on your own actions. All that undermining foundation of Black Americans? No, 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 no. Y'all want to project your guilt onto me? I held that mirror up to you. So to let you see the contempt that you've had for us, that's not going to go down no more. And I'm educating FBAs about it. See, blaming me, this is easier than acknowledging your role and why you got to be out here by yourself. A lot of these folks don't want to admit that they were active participants in all of that anti-FBA, Akata, cotton picker, where y'all were talking cash it and act like y'all weren't. Yes, you were. Dismissing our culture, ghetto, coming over here, Mona Scott with Love and Hip Hop showing all of that ratchetness. You know? Don't sit here and talk about I created some division. You got to have a level of unity before you can have division. Where was all this unity? It was nothing but exploiting and denigrating. I just started I was one of the first to point it out because I was a target from these damn tethers. They were targeting my ass. The tether media and the tether politicians, along with White Mommy and White Zaddy. So I started to see the play a long time ago. Yeah. Because see, these people, they benefited from all that anti-FBA nonsense. They benefited from it. Now they got exposed for it. They benefited from that myth that they're the good Black immigrants and FBAs are the real problem. And once that dynamic was exposed by us delineating, they panic. They're panicking now. Just like this fool called up. He's all incoherent. He just babbling, don't know what to say. They're panicking right now. Huh? And what they want to try to do is discredit the messenger instead of basically acknowledging your years of one-sided disrespect. Stop that. Yeah. See the FBA delineation movement, it shattered that whole cultural superiority complex. Like I said, quietly, they believe that their culture, heritage, their accents made them better or more rooted to Africa. So now that we ain't using that term no more, you don't feel superior no more. That's why they're mad, because now we're embracing our American culture. We're not continental African. So hey, knock yourself out. You got it. Wait, nigga. You are African too. You are Bantu. They're always trying to put some weird tribe that you're just saying shit. You are Ipa, nigga. You don't know nothing. Shut up. I know I'm not. Stop it. Just stop it. We are foundational Black Americans. Yeah. And we're uplifting our own rich culture here. We're not even denigrating you. We're not denigrating you. We're uplifting our own culture. Now you come over talking greasy, you get roasted. Yeah, we start roasting you because y'all know that's part of foundational Black American culture. We roast, and they want to go toe to toe with the roast game with us. Dude, we got way too much material on your ass. That's the problem. They want to get into a roast battle. And remember when we do the early Twitter spaces, the Somalis and East Africans, they come in here trying to roast. You niggas eat fried chicken. You eat Popeye's chicken and smoke crack, nigga. Hey, really? Are we really going there? Y'all don't want to play the dozens with me. Y'all don't want to go there. We kept warning them, and we start lighting them up. We start getting on them foreheads, flip-flop flies. Man, y'all we got too much material for y'all to be up here trying to roast somebody. Dude, come on now. So the thing is, man, they can't refute facts, so they try to attack, the influencers. See, I brought the receipts, I brought the data and the historic evidence to basically highlight all of that passive aggressive disdain. That's why old tweets of me talking about Essence and how they're going down. I had a tweet from a damn near a decade ago breaking that down. And now we see it in real time. We see it playing out right now. Everybody's criticizing Essence for their lackluster productions now. Uh, so the thing is, they're upset because foundational Black Americans, we're now saying no. See, for a long time, they've expected unconditional unity from us while mocking, displacing, and dismissing us. Now that we're pushing back, we're setting boundaries now. We're practicing lineage-based solidarity, and we're not letting anybody denigrate or exploit our lineage no more. So now they feel offended. So instead of reflecting, they like, Tariq, he poisoned Black unity. We were going to have Akon City, nigga. Did y'all see the shit with Akon City, by the way? Did y'all see the stuff going on with Akon City? Yeah, Senegal pulled out. They were like, Akon, get this bull. You ain't about to give us our damn land back. Remember, Senegal gave Akon, singer, rapper, whatever he calls himself. They gave him a bunch of land because he went up there talking about he's going to build Akon City. It's going to be like Wakanda. It's going to be flying trains, and it's going to be kryptonite bush meat. It was just going to be all types of futuristic shit that they were going to have. It was going to have radioactive must, is just all types of weird shit. And Akon was trying to get us involved. Remember, he was going around telling us, listen, y'all over here in America, we need to come back to the motherland. Yeah, yeah, nigga, we got to come back to the motherland. We got all that land. I'm about to build Akon City. Y'all need to get on down with this. Man, we're gonna have high rises, futuristic buildings. It's gonna be underground tunnels with high-speed trains. Um, it's gonna be baboons with wings and helmets flying everybody to the airport. Just all types of bullshit. They were trying to get us on board with it. And talking about all the money they need and all that. And Senegal gave them land, but now we ain't interested in none of that stuff. There's zero interest in us collectively for participating in any of that stuff. And without us on board, because see, it only would work if we were going to be on board. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing really works in black society anywhere unless FBAs are on board. You know? And because we ain't with it, we've delineated. We're like, we good. We ain't about to go to Mustania or whatever you're gonna call your magic city. We're not we're cool. So now everything fell flat. You know, my sister Aki put up some good tweets earlier talking about the Essence thing. Like that was dumb for Essence to try to pander basically to the non-FBA crowd. They don't she made a good point. She like the non-FBA crowd don't really support stuff like that. That's not a good demographic. They don't get nothing popping, which is true. To be honest, y'all don't really get nothing popping unless it's tethered on to us. I'm not trying to be mean. You don't get nothing popping unless it's tethered on to us. We have to be on board. That's why they're so mad with us delineating. They know without us co-signing some shit, it's rough for them. They ain't gonna get nothing popping. Look, am I lying? Tell me where I'm lying. Hell, even Afro beats. They love talking about Afro beat. Afro beats is the banging nigga. Listen to Afro beats. What do they sample in most of them Afro beat songs? Most of them are samples from songs, FBA songs from the 90s and the 2000s. Right? Burna Boy, Wiz. Oh, they sample our old R&B shit. And then, oh, man, I'm not trying to be mean, but you just don't get nothing popping without us. And like my sister said, they tried to get the Essence Festival. They thought they were going to try to pander to another audience. That's going to fall flat. These folks, some of these non-FBAs, they don't really get things popping on their own. They basically get online to whine to us. You know, they get online whining at us all the damn time, but they don't really get nothing popping. And I'm not trying to denigrate nobody, but we got to talk real here. We got to talk real here. But the thing is, a lot of these folks, they're so used to speaking in codes, and I start making their little codes public. I'll start letting folks know what they're saying, where they're saying it, the little slick shit that they're doing. Um, them sitting up here trying to project the lack of culture onto us, talking about we ain't got no culture, this, and I'm like, we don't know where we're from. I'm like, wait a minute, family. Don't let none of the we've been here longer than their countries have been around. Don't let them project that on us. We are more deeply rooted than them. We know our culture. We know who our ancestors are. We can actually trace our ancestors by name because we were very well documented over here. See, we let them run a Jedi mind trick. We had to clean that up. I started as a historian letting people know, no, 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 we got to clean that up. We know more of our history than they do. They don't really have records like that. Not only that, they don't have birth certificates like that. The majority of Africa don't have no birth certificates. A lot of these folks don't know how old they are. That's why they have these January 1st birthdays. A lot of folks didn't know that until I pointed that out. They really got mad when I pointed that out. Boy, they got mad. How dare you tell them that, nigga? I was born on New Year's. No, you weren't. You were born somewhere in a tent in the Serengeti and you got breastfed by a camel, nigga. You don't know when you were born or where. You don't know nothing. You know? So we started pointing all of this stuff out. Yeah. And so now there's a fear of losing control of the Black narrative here in America. See, the delineation movement, it challenges that idea that anybody Black, quote unquote, or melanated can speak for Black Americans. So the immigrant elites, the political gatekeepers, see, they used to be able to insert themselves into our foundational Black American struggle and then rewrite history. And I was one of the people to help disrupt that power structure. So instead of them acknowledging their false representation, they want to call me a divider because I don't woke everybody up to some of that bullshit. You see, they want the benefits of unity without the responsibility. See, a lot of them, they talk about unity when it benefits them, grants, media roles, jobs, positions, all that. But they don't want to be called out for dismissing foundational Black American culture and history. Yeah. So the thing is, they're mad at the grassroots because now the grassroots, they think for themselves. I didn't divide anything. I informed the grassroots. Now, everyday foundational Black Americans are thinking critically. You're pushing back, you're delineating. That grassroots awakening that threatens the immigrants who depend on foundational Black American silence. I'm not talking about our riders, because we still got riders and we love you and we rock with you and respect them. So them trying to attack me by saying I done brainwashed everybody. Oh, you taught niggas to hit us. Listen, y'all think these 43 million foundational Black Americans don't see you and see the little slick shit you do and see the undermining? You think they don't see that at their jobs? You go to the job and you see or a tether becomes a supervisor, then all of a sudden you getting sabotaged out of your job, and then all of a sudden it's a bunch of them up there. People see this stuff in real time. They're putting two and two together. They're like, hey, man, hold on. Hey, we're going to have to reassess this thing. But people ain't dumb. They see what it is. They see with their own eyes.
Microphone check.